Okay, everyone, I'm back. It's Sam McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and today we have 4 shows we're talking about. So the photos for the Monster Zim show are not out. At least I didn't see them. But we have the photos from the show that happened a few weeks ago, which I didn't get to. But one of my lovely viewers reminded me to get to it, especially because there was something kind of weird that happened in the Final Four call out that we should definitely discuss. So we're going to talk about that. Then we have Tsunami Nutrition, Battle of Georgia, and then, Daytona Pro. And what was I think I have one other show. I said Tsunami, Battle of Georgia, Daytona, and then Hong Kong. Yeah, no, so 4 shows. That's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to start with Hong Kong because I have a lot of things open at the bottom of my screen, as you can tell. And so we have to go in order. We have to go in order of how I open it up. So we are going to start with Hong Kong. So let's pull up. Okay, I will probably get some of these names wrong because I'm not familiar with some of these athletes' faces. So I keep getting Reina. Okay, which person is Reina? Okay, this is Reina. So Reina is wearing red. Okay, I remember that. And then we have Min. Okay, so Min is in the purple. Got it. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about. So how did this show end up going? I deleted the order of things I had like a while ago because I wasn't going to end up doing the show. But it ended up being, because the photos took a while to come out, ended up being my guess was Lee to win first. And then, so we had Lee in first. We had Ying Yi in second. And this was a really, really exciting show for her. She did really, really well. Did I talk about the Huanji show? Yeah. Okay, so she got third at this show. Did I not recap that one either? Because I think photos might have come out. And the photos at some of these shows in Asia sometimes end up taking like a week to come out as opposed to 3 or 4 days like some of the other shows. So I talked about Battle of the Bodies recap. Okay, so it looks like I have to recap Huanji too. Okay, I'm going to open that in another tab. And then I will talk about this one. I don't know about today, but I will talk about it. Okay, so yeah, she got second. And that was was this her first? Yeah, it was her first time doing so well. And she's been pro last year. So yeah, she had a crazy look. Min got third. Reina got fourth. And Nicole got fifth. But Nicole was in the Final Four call out. And who wasn't? I think Reina wasn't. What's this alarm? Oh, okay, I have to do this later. Okay, I have to edit one of my clients' plans because she has gotten very strong now that she is not in a deficit anymore. So we aren't going to do as high of a reps as we were doing previously because now she has the strength to do lower reps and she's crushing it. So, okay, I have to do that. So I'll do that at 3:15 instead. So, Reina was not in the Final Four call-out, and Nicole was, and then Nicole ended up getting pushed out, and then getting into 5th place instead of 4th. So that was the interesting thing that happened. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's take this photo first because this has the top 5. So my eye goes straight to Ying Yi because she just has a very striking look. And her muscle bellies look super just full round. Like she looks like an action figure. Lee though, she has, I would say, the most, her upper body is very striking and she usually is rewarded. So she usually gets first or second place. So my eye goes to her, but I think just out of bias of knowing who she is. So in the front pose, I would probably give it to Ying Yi because I think her glute looks around her in the front pose, even though I would tweak the pose. So I think she's a little straight on, which makes us lose some of that upper outer glute in the front pose. And she looks very quad dominant. Part of this is like, it's kind of grainy because this is a far away photo. So we don't really see that much hamstring. At least with Lee, we do see more overall shape to the leg, even though we're losing a lot of upper outer glute here. So she could probably arch her low back to kind of round this upper glute out. It won't make it look like you have a bunch more muscle there than you do, but it will improve that S curve. And then who else when I look at this photo, Those are the two that stand out to me. Reina also stands out, but she looks very wide up top, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because Lee looks very wide up top, and so does Ying Yi. But Reina just looks much more overpowering than them. It looks like her legs are underdeveloped compared to her upper body, and even though it looks like we aren't seeing the development on Ying Yi or on Lee in this upper outer glute, you can tell that the muscle at least looks more balanced between top and bottom compared to Reina. It looks like we just have a less muscle in the lower body and then a very gifted structure of the clavicle and a very rounded full muscles in the upper body. So I think that reads as a little of an imbalance. Nicole is someone I always have my eye on because she went pro, I think, at the Ben Weider in wellness. So please tell me I'm pulling up the right show. Okay, no, that's Huanji. Okay, tell me this is Hong Kong. Oh, thank God it is. Okay, so she went pro, I believe I thought she went pro at the Ben Weider in wellness. So let me look her up. Because I always thought it was like cool that she was a natural wellness pro, and then eventually she ventured into okay, maybe that's not where she went pro. And okay, hopefully I'm in the right tab. NBC Ben Weider. I'll say 2022. Okay, Ben Weider pro qualifier, yes. I don't know if it was 2022, but let's find out. Okay, so wellness. No, it wasn't this one. Okay, let me go to 2021. I mean, I guess I could have just, well, there was no 2021, I guess. I guess I could have just looked up. Okay. I guess I could have just looked at her little contest history and seen what show she went pro at. Okay, Ben Weider Natural Pro. Okay, Ben Weider Natural 2021. It was called something else then. So wellness. Sarah Rodriguez. No, so okay, that's Reina. Okay, let me pull up Nicole. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, I think. Okay, so here she was, 2022. She competed in Girl Power. Yeah, so there's a gap. I was pretty... let me type in Nicole Tan, NPC Ben Weider. You guys are along for the ride in a big way. Okay, Ben Weider Natural. Okay, I guess I could definitely be wrong. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she went pro in wellness at Ben Weider. So anyway, I digress. Okay, so let me get rid of that. So yeah, when I look at the first call out, that's what I'm looking at. Nicole looks very balanced to me. Could use a little more upper outer glute. She looks fuller in the upper body, but that's a trend I'm seeing with everyone. So yeah, it doesn't really stand out that negatively to me. So then in the back pose for everyone, Nicole's glutes stand out way in a huge way. I feel like I just said that. Yeah, they really, really, really stand out to me. So I think that probably was so strong that it got her into that final four call out. But okay, let me get back to it. You guys, I had strep over the weekend, so I'm kind of why am I about to apologize for being all over the place? I'm always all over the place. Okay, but I did have strep. So you gotta cut me some slack. Okay, so we have Lee. Where does Lee win this show? I think she's very balanced from top to bottom in the back pose, and I think everyone has a little weaker of a front pose at this show, which is interesting because it's usually everyone having a very strong front pose, and then their back pose is where things look weak. But I think everyone could use some tweaks to their front pose, and I think from the back, Lee's totally got it. Totally balanced, really full in the upper outer glute. Like the entire glute looks evenly muscled. Nicole, I say the same thing. Her glutes look very evenly muscled. I would say that as far as like a second place goes, I could see Nicole as high as second place at this show. Because Min and Yin Yi and Reina are all, especially Yin Yi and Min, are lacking a lot more in the upper outer glute than Nicole and Lee. Reina has it. She just doesn't look like she has as much density. So she has the shape, but the density and projection just aren't there. I think she looks very balanced in her conditioning from top to bottom though. And I think her conditioning looks the same in the front too. She's not like hard and vascular in any specific place. She just looks evenly poppy everywhere. She doesn't have as much pop as I would say Nicole does. Nicole's bringing a lot of pop and projection. But she does look even though I don't think it's the most poppy. I think Lee wins. As far as second place goes, I think Yin Yi, even though she's missing a lot of upper outer glute, her glutes are pretty undersized compared to the rest of her physique. The conditioning she has is what they want in bikini. I would say that she has the most bikini conditioning in this lineup, even though she's missing some of like that core muscle that you want in the group. And I'm honestly okay with that. I would rather have someone with the right conditioning win over someone whose conditioning is too freaky, but they do have the muscle. Because I think that just keeps bikini with the criteria of what they want to see. Like, it doesn't cross the line into too freaky. I think you've heard me say before, that's when things get a little bit tricky with judging, where people who are getting like third, fourth, fifth place are super hard. And then like sixth place has the right conditioning, is just a little under muscled somewhere. And then first and second place are the perfect conditioning, and they're not like looking that freaky at all. So yeah, that's what I think. I think her conditioning is totally spot on. And then I think third place, Min, looks really good. Her conditioning is pretty similar to Lee's, I think. She just doesn't have as much development in the entire glute as Lee does. Where does Yin Yi edge out Min? I think she honestly is just the most striking. Like, I think her shape from the front is really good. She looks like a bikini action figure. And I don't think Min has that X factor as much as Yin Yi. So and then let's go over Reina and Nicole. I think Reina's front pose was better and more complete than Nicole. So it's hard to get rid of you saw it a second ago. So I think that Reina's upper body was super overpowering to her lower body. But she had more muscle in but no, actually, I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay. Honestly, what am I thinking? I think Reina's back pose is there. I think Nicole's back pose is there. It's just a little freakier than Reina's. And I think Nicole probably has the freakiest back pose of the top 5. So it stands out potentially in a negative way. I'm not totally sure. Even though I do think it's like almost nearly the most impressive in the lineup, I think it's too different from these other 4. The front pose also, she looked a little bit under-muscled in the front pose. And even though Reina had an imbalance between top and bottom in the front pose, maybe she just still looked like she had more muscle. I'm not sure. If I were to score this, it probably would be, if we're going off of bikini criteria. Wow, I'm really digging myself old because I don't know how I would score this. I would probably have Lee winning. And everyone's conditioning is really good. So I could see, because Yin Yi, she just is so breathtaking in her front pose, and her conditioning is spot on the back pose, but she's missing such a large amount of glute in the back pose. It's kind of hard for me to give her second, other than the fact that she's just really impressive. So I would probably give first to Lee still. I could see Min getting second, Yin Yi getting third, Nicole getting fourth, Reina getting fifth. That's maybe what I would do. I don't know. It's tough. Let's look at these top 4, and we're going to look at the difference between everyone. Okay. Or among everyone. So, yeah, in the front pose, I think that, Yin Yi does look a lot fuller. Yeah, she does look very full in this front pose. So, yeah, I probably would give her second, even though she's missing a lot of glute. And then Lee, I would like to see more upper glute, but I think if she just like arched her back more, that would help. Looks like the tan is getting messed up or something on her shoulder. Nicole, I think her tan is really light. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the tan being so light compared to everyone else's is what pushed her into 5th place, now that I see this. So yeah, I honestly think it could have been as simple as of that. Like, the overall look just wasn't as complete. And then what would I do? Okay, then I'll talk about what I would individually do in these front poses, but let's look at this back pose. Yeah, Lee, her conditioning is really good. She's not too hard. Nicole is getting a little bit hard in these lower glutes, so that could have gone against her. I would say her tan is too light, and she's a little bit hard there. And Raina's low glutes look more similar to the other of the top three. That's my guess about what it was. Hard to say. As you can tell, I'm struggling to make an argument. Okay. Let's look at them individually. So I'm gonna get rid of this. So here's Lee. She's about to go to Olympia in, like, what is it, 10 days or something? Okay, it's on the 12th, so in like 12 days. So what do I think? I would do more arch in the low back so we get more roundness in this upper glute in the front pose. Okay, maybe it's just vascularity in the shoulder. Okay, I have to cough. Okay. I'm wearing my favorite earrings, which are just like hairy legs. Do you like them? I pulled them up here because I accidentally broke them once, so I tried to find, like, if I could buy them again. And, okay, that's not putting up. Here it is. This is what they look like. I couldn't find them again. Okay, so, yeah, I think the suit color is really pretty. As I've been saying with Lee, I would like more coverage on the suit top. Makeup, I think, could also be more glam, especially the eyebrows, where it's kind of losing the eyebrows. It looks like they're almost like, you know, she brushed concealer through them. So yeah, I would make the makeup more glam, and yeah, just go look at the Olympia. I think this is the right conditioning. If she got tighter, it would make her much too tight in the upper body. She's already showing a lot of vascularity here. So all I would do is add some arch to the low back and see what happens. And then we have our second place. Oh, wow, she just looks so freaking good. Yeah, I do think she could angle her hips away a little bit so we see less of the front of her suit bottoms, just so we could see more hamstring. Like, this shape is beautiful and her waist is so small that it doesn't really hurt her to be so straight on in the waist, but where it is hurting her is losing the hamstring. So yeah, that's what I would do. I'd turn a little more away, like in the hips, so we see more of that silhouette of the hamstring too. Back pose, I think, is spot on. I think it's just she needs more muscle. Yeah, she just needs more muscle. But wow, knockout look. Okay. And then we have third place, which is Min. So, yeah, Min looks fantastic. I would bring the arm in tighter to really frame the S-curve. And she also is, all of the top three so far are very hard and vascular in the arms, so I don't think that really hurt anyone. The conditioning on the lower body looks great. I would try arching the back a little bit more and bring the stance in closer. She's angling her toes out a lot too, which is making her quads like the same width as her glutes. So I would bring her feet in closer together. More like shoulder width apart, so like right about here. So like an inch in, and then point the toes more forward. Bring the arm in tighter. Drop the hands so you're not covering up the smallest part of the belly button. See all the laundry behind me, and then beside me. Drop this so you're not covering up the smallest part of the waist, and that is what I would do. I think the hair could also be a little more glam. It looks just kind of like it's falling a little messy. If it could just fall a little flatter. That would be great. It's like on the arm and stuff is what I mean. So, yeah, the lower half looks great. She is just more vascular than I think would do well if she did like the Daytona show or something. Okay. Actually, well, I mean, Jordan won and she's pretty vascular, so maybe not. Okay, Raina, I think that, yeah, okay, I'm going to pull her and Nicole up next to each other because this is tough. I think that Raina's front pose wins, especially if she brings the arm in tighter to her frame and doesn't flare this lat as much. I think the lat is distracting, making her look a lot wider up top than she actually is. She does have a wide clavicle, but the lat is making it look like super extreme. So yeah, I would bring extreme. I would bring the arm in tighter. Which would also kind of help to relax the lat a little bit. I would make the makeup more glam too, and I would move the hand more to like the connector, just don't cover up the smallest part of her waist. And yeah, I think she does look more muscular, which is not not in an offensive way, but like not saying much. Neither of them look like that muscular in the leg, and I think Reina just barely edges out Nicole. Nicole could also probably angle her front toe more like Reina's, where it's at this 45-degree angle, because when you do this like horizontal to the judge, it shows width, but it doesn't really show shape or lines in the leg unless you're like a wellness competitor when you have a ton of muscle in your hamstring and quad that you're trying to show off. And it also is like not really doing any favors to the pop on this upper outer glute. So yeah, I think Reina looks more complete in the front pose, and now that I'm looking at these photos next to each other. Okay, and then the back pose, let's see. Yeah, I mean, Nicole, I think, as far as being impressive, wins the back pose, but I think the conditioning on Reina, I would like to see the conditioning in between these two. I think this is not quite enough for a Nicole, but I think this is too much. The shape of the bottoms is perfect. Like, this really shapes her glutes beautifully. The arms are in the perfect spot. I would bring her feet in a little bit closer together. They're just a touch wide, but I think the taper is really, really beautiful. She could maybe angle her toes a little less outward, but I think they're fine where they are. Just bringing the feet in would be enough. But the projection she has on her glutes, I think, is really, really, really good and what I'd like to see on Reina. But I think her back pose just is a mismatch with her front pose. She doesn't look nearly as muscular in her front as she does in her back. And I think Reina looks more similar in her muscularity between the front and the back. So it's a balanced competition. That could have had something to do with her being pushed out. Okay, I have to cough again. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Who are we moving on to? That's the question. Okay. Let's look at this Georgia, the Battle of Georgia photos. Is this? No, this is France. Okay. This is France. So, now I can pull my predictions. Okay. So, France. What's the name of the show? What's the name of the show? Okay, I have Daytona, Tsunami. Okay, this was Tsunami. So I thought Tsunami would be, I thought it would be Violetta, so I was way off there. Anna, who ended up winning. Patricia would end up getting second, but I thought she would get third. Rania in fourth. Rania ended up getting fourth. Oh, so I was right there. And Lauren getting fifth. So, the person I did not get was Irene. So I had 4 of the top 5. Okay. But like I always say, if you follow the sport, you probably had similar predictions. Okay, so there were not... Oh, yeah, maybe there were for this one. Were there? No, I think that's Daytona. So there weren't comparison photos for this show. So we're just going to go off of this. So here was Anna. I think this is some of the best that Anna's ever looked. I think, like, with Anna, I won't stop saying bring up the hamstrings, but that's not something she's going to be able to do this season, obviously. I think she toned down some of the muscularity in her upper body, which looks really good and very balanced in this front pose. And, yeah, she's turned a lot, I think, probably to show some hamstring. So this is, like, the best Anna could pose. I think it looks really, really good. Her conditioning is spot on for bikini. She's not too freaky anywhere. I think she totally nailed it. Patrizia ended up getting second place. I think her conditioning is also really good. Really good. Like, very poppy. I could have even seen her winning just based on the front pose. Because I do think, like, Anna is missing hamstring, which is big, and Patrizia is missing just some of, like, the polishing. So I would say having a little bit of the bend in the knee, or maybe, yeah, a little bit, because it looks like it's hyperextending slightly, and bring this foot in more so she's not, like, making herself so wide. So see how Anna's foot is landing, like, right under her knee? That's what I would like to see on Patrizia, but her foot's just like a hair too far forward, which is kind of tipping her. And this elbow is like way around, and so is Anna's, but this just looks more extreme. I think also because of how high up it is on her waist, which is making it so it's like even more like up and pointy, making it super, super prominent. So I would drop the hand, just overall relax the pose a little bit more, including bringing the arm tight to the glute. See how when Anna does it, it frames her S-curve? That's what I want to see on Patrizia. So in the front pose, I honestly think they're evenly matched. But Anna's posing is better. Like, I could see Patrizia winning this front pose because I think she looks pretty complete, but the posing is just a little too forced. Hair and makeup are very pretty on both of them. And then in the back pose, I think what do I think? Okay. In the back pose, I think they could both use a little more hamstring. So I think Anna looks a little more complete. In the upper outer roundness, Patrizia could use a little bit more. I honestly think just adjusting the suit cut would help that. She would look like she had more round upper outer glute if she had some more coverage right here. But Anna just is more muscularly developed. Patrizia's hamstrings are looking a little bit flat, and then you're seeing some hardness on this quad. So she could angle her toes more forward, and then maybe she get some more shapeliness to the leg. But Anna, I think, just edges her out a little bit. I think there could be an argument made for both of them, though. Their conditioning, tan, hair, makeup, suit, all look great. Anna, like I always say, the suit is, I think, the black base is just too harsh, especially when, if everything isn't perfect on you, I don't think you should go with a harsh suit color. Okay, and then in third, we have Irene. So here's Irene. And, yeah, I think Irene is just a little too hard, like too vascular. Not as muscular as the top two, just needs to fill out her frame a little bit more. The glutes look really good. She could use some glaze. She looks like she maybe even just soaked it up, like it soaked into her skin too much, because you aren't really seeing much shine on her. And that could definitely help soften her up. I think the makeup could be a touch more glam, and the hair could be a little more polished, like cutting it so it's not covering any of the glutes. But the projection on the glutes is really good. She's lacking a little hamstring, but so are the top two. So where does she win against Reina? I think Reina also needs to relax her pose. I've talked about that before. She has stood up taller, brought the arm in tighter, didn't put the foot so far out, which makes her look like she's leaning forward. Yeah, I think Irene just has better hourglass shape here, and Irene, the way she's posing, takes away a lot of hourglass shape. I think Irene could also use some more shoulder. And she pulls her shoulders up so high that it, like, shortens up her neck a lot. So I would just stand taller. Shoulders back, chest high. And then in the back pose, where does Irene beat Rania, if at all? I think it's pretty tight in the back pose. Rania needs more glue. So it's actually, after I said it was tight, I think it's really just because Reina has glaze, so that helps. Yeah, I think that Irene definitely wins this back pose. Rania just doesn't have the same projection in the glutes as Irene does, and even though Irene is missing some hamstring, it looks like the legs are overpowering Rania because they're the same width and even wider than the glutes. So I think she just needs more of that taper down. Part of that could be helped if she pointed her toes completely forward. When they're pointed out like this, it flares out the quads. I think Rania's upper body in the back pose is evenly matched to Irene if Irene had some glaze on. But I really like Rania's suit. Okay, and then in fifth place, we have Lauren. So, yeah, Lauren looked incredible. I really love this look. I think if she were a little tighter, she probably would have edged out Rania. Now, this isn't a big deal, but you can see her fingers. I would just, like, totally obscure the hand. That's what I would recommend. The waist is really tight. She's almost vacuuming up so much it's, like, poking the chest out. So she has stood up nice and tall and didn't let the chest inflate like that. But honestly, I'd rather have that than the stomach inflating because you're trying to breathe. So, you know. This is probably best case scenario. She looks like she has a little more muscle on the lower body in the front pose than she does in the upper body, but that could also be because she's like so pulled back in the chest. So I would just relax the upper body a little bit more, but she looks fantastic. So that was Tsunami, right? Okay, yeah, that was Tsunami. Okay. And then we have... Okay, let's go into Georgia, and then I will finish with Daytona. Georgia, we just have, like, 4 people, and only 2 of them have the, like, full... Well, 3 of them do, but we're missing third place. I'm not, There were 4 people who competed here. It ended up being Ina, Michelle, Cassie, Ashley. I was so happy to see Ina win. Ina got the second at the Arnold Amateur in 2022, so I was happy to see her, like, get a pro win. I thought it would be Cassie, Ina, Ashley, because they added... Oh, no, they didn't. Is that the right show? Okay, yeah. I guess I didn't put Michelle, but I thought I put Michelle, so that's weird. Anyway, so yeah, but they did add someone to the Monsters M list after I made my video. So yeah, Cassie ended up getting third, Ina got first, and Ashley got fourth. So I think we're just gonna go over top 2 because that's all we really have the pictures for. So Okay, so Michelle got second. Ina looks great. I think she needs some more shoulder, but overall, the hourglass shape is just the best. And both of them could have a better fitting suit. Michelle looks fantastic. I think she just needs some more projection in the glutes, so she just needs more muscle density there. And the shoulders are sloping off. You want those to stay nice and even. Right now, the back one's like this. So yeah, just level those off. And she could probably crank her hips around a little bit more to get more shape in the glute, but that is just like some muscle that she's lacking. Having to drink water. So yeah, that's what I think there. Michelle looks gorgeous. Makeup looks gorgeous. So does Ina's. Yeah, I love Michelle's look. I love when the leg like has this little bit of shape. So pretty. So yeah, congratulations, Ina. I'm so excited. And then we have the back poses. So Ina, her back pose always slays. I mean, she could use some more shoulder, but the glutes always look really, really, really good. Michelle just needs some more glutes. So I think Michelle's shoulders look great, but just needs some more development in the glutes. The hamstrings are kind of overpowering the glutes a little bit. So yeah, congratulations, Ina. And Ina is from Ukraine, and obviously heart goes out to Ukraine. Okay, so then final show we're going to talk about. So Daytona, what did I predict? Okay, I said Jordan, Taylor, Adair, Nade, and Yulia. So I was wrong. It ended up being Jordan, Masa, who I didn't predict, Yulia in third, Adair in fourth, Brittany in fifth, and Nade in sixth. So I do want to pull up Nade first. Usually I don't talk about six, but I just wanted to give Nade some mad props on this front pose. This is the best it's ever looked. She looked gorgeous. It looked gorgeous. And now that her front pose is looking, it's showing off how great she is, then we can get a real assessment of Nade, because in the past it was tough to get a true assessment because the pose just was not right. So looking at Nade now, she does carry a lot of muscle, especially in the low body. Like her low body slays, and in the back pose she wins like most shows. What I am thinking though, now that I see her in like basically the perfect front pose, well, one, I'd like her knee to angle just slightly more at me. They don't look too different in size, but I think it does just help shape just like the slightest bit. But that's some advice that you can just take or leave. For Nade specifically, the waist looks tight. What I'm seeing is that I think we need some more shoulder and arm development. She's very dense and full in these legs, and the like upper limbs, the arms, aka, are just look skinny in comparison. She's not skinny. She's very muscular, but I think now that I'm seeing her in like a complete front pose, it does just look like a pretty big discrepancy to me. I could be totally wrong. The lighting at this show, like, no offense, sucks. So it's kind of hard to even like look at the photos and give an assessment. But yeah, I think that we need some more muscle in the upper body, including the lat, to just kind of complete the look. It's like everything is there for Nade. Now just building that, I think, is all she needs. The back pose, I think it's really good, but the arms are just look like they're lagging a little bit compared to the lower body. Which normally, like, I don't really say with her, but now that I see it in the front, it's hard not to see the same thing in the back. So I think I just have a little bit of a bias going on there too. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Back pose is great. Same thing I always say about our back pose, just bring the hands in a little bit more so we don't see any of the wrist. And then I don't think I would have any of those same things to say about the arms looking a little bit skinny, because it would just tighten up the amount of space right here. But since they're so far away, it makes them look skinnier. So yeah, the suit color, I think I like. I mean, I definitely like the suit color. I think it looks pretty on her. I don't know how much it pops because of how harsh this lighting is. And I think the hair could be a little bit more, like it's just kind of like, wispy on the shoulders. If it could just be, all like in place better, I would like to see that. And if it could be shorter here, just above the glutes. And then some areas, I think what I'm having issues with is some areas are straight and some are curly. So if it could just all be like one or the other, I think that would just bring the look together a little bit better. So yeah, but Nade, like, incredible. She looks fantastic, and I really am excited about this front pose. And I'm gonna leave her up because I want to see who got, we're going to pull up some people and see kind of why they placed the way they did, I think. Okay, so here's our first call out. I saw some upset over Masa getting in second place. And yeah, I agree that Masa doesn't look like the other people in this call out, but she's also way taller than them. So everyone in this call out is like very full and a very bubbly muscle. Like they all have very dense muscle. And they're all very balanced, but Masa is also very balanced and is full as she can be. I think she does look a little bit deflated compared to the other people, but not because she has a lack of muscle, but because her muscle bellies are longer. So it takes a lot more size to even them out and look as full and bubbly as these other competitors. So I think that her shape is totally there. I think the conditioning is really good. Would I like to see some more density? Yeah. But is more density way harder to achieve when you're this tall? Yeah. She's like 5'11", I think 5'10" or 5'11". So yeah, it just takes way more. So yeah. So in the front pose, I also, looking at this, I think Adair fucking nailed it with the front pose. She stood up way taller than she ever has. Like, this is beautiful. The shoulders in line with the glute. This is exactly what I've been saying I want to see from Adair. Like, she looks stunning. She looks also like she has a ton of glute in the front pose. Like, I could see her, based on this front pose, even like winning because she looks so balanced and cartoonish, but it's from the back that I think she falls off a bit. Yulia, I think, looks fantastic. Usually I have some issues with her midsection just looking a little bit softer, but I think it's totally, as great as it can be here. I think it will be hard to get a tighter waist than like a Jordan. Jordan always has like a very tight waist. Would I like to see a little more detail in it? Yeah, a little bit, but it's still very, very tight. Getting ahead of myself. So in this front pose, I honestly could even see Yulia winning this show. Like, she looks very round and bubbly. Her waist is tight. Jordan also looks absolutely incredible. So Jordan is our first person who was qualified for 2026 Olympia on 2 wins. So congrats to her. Hair, makeup, suit, very pretty. Yeah, I think Jordan is a little bit vascular, but we're going to look at people's individual photos too and see if they are too. It looks like Masa has a little bit of it going on. But yeah, I think Masa and Jordan both just look very balanced from top to bottom. I think Jordan wins on her fullness compared to Masa. Even though Masa is full, Jordan has a lot more density and the fullness, basically. So yeah. Okay, let's leave it at that for that photo. Okay, and then we have back pose. So this is what I mean with Adair. So she's really full in the glutes in the front pose, but she really slopes off in the back pose, and her legs look wider than her glutes. And how wide she is here in the leg really emphasizes how narrow she is here in the upper glute. So I would point her toes all the way forward because that quad flare is, like, I think really highlighting the discrepancy. And I honestly could have seen it more like Yulia winning, Jordan in second, Masa in third, and Adair in fourth. Or, I mean, I think it could have gone either way with Yulia and Jordan. I wasn't there in person, so I don't know. With Jordan and Yulia, I would straighten the arms a little bit so they don't poke out like this. And Adair, honestly. It looks like Masa is pinching in the upper back a little bit, so I would open up the chest and the upper back so she gets more of that, like, taper into the waist. But yeah, Jordan's back pose conditioning is completely spot on. Her glutes look incredible. She looks very full. I think we would see better shoulder capping if she straightened her arms a little bit and just kept her chest nice and open. But yeah, she looks great. She looks a little more dug in here than Yulia does. So like I said, I could see it either way. And I think where Adair gets that fourth place is how she's sloping off in the glutes. It was Adair in fourth, right? Let me double check. I'm pretty positive, but let me check. Okay, yeah. Adair. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go over people individually. So here is Jordan. She looks phenom. Yeah, waist looks super tight. She's her shoulder is kind of sloping down. I don't know if it's the way she's holding her arm, so I would just want, like, some more roundness in that shoulder. And then in the back pose, spot on glute fullness, but looks really, really hard in these hamstrings. So I don't know. I don't know. I think the lighting is also so harsh. I think I preferred her look at the show that she just won. Okay, and then let's look at them in their front pose. Yeah, I mean, in the front pose with Masa's waist, this is the amount of detail I'd like to see in Jordan's. Jordan's is just kind of washed. I love this amount of detail in Masa. I think she just looks a little narrow in the shoulders, but this S curve is crazy. Like, based on the front pose, I could also see Masa winning. I think it would be Masa, Yulia, or Jordan for the front pose. And then in the back pose, Masa looks great. She also looks pretty dug into the hamstrings. She just doesn't have the same projection as Jordan or Yulia in the back pose, but she still beat Yulia. And I would make the stance a little bit more narrow, but I'm also not 5'11". So if she makes it more narrow, does she then just look very straight up and down? It's a very possible. So I would have to see it, but I would like to see it just a tiny bit more narrow. I'm not talking right next to each other, but just a little more narrow because it looks so much wider than her upper body, so it's really making her shoulders look more narrow. Third place, yeah, Yulia just looks phenomenal. She looks really, 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 really good. Based on bikini criteria, like the fullness, I'm not seeing any of that digging into the hamstrings. Like, I didn't see it in person, so I have no idea. Based on pictures, I would probably have it Yulia, Jordan, Masa, Adair. Yeah. Okay, and then Adair. So nothing new. I think this is, she really nailed it with the front pose. That knee could be pointing forward. It's kind of making her just look like ligamenty in this leg. Angle the elbows at the judges, so there's not so much negative space. Hair, makeup, Sue, always stunning. And then Brittany Hamilton got 5th. Yeah, Brittany looks phenomenal. I think this is the best Brittany's ever looked. The best the poses ever looked, the most balanced she's ever looked. She just, I think, is a little bit squared off in those glutes. So, yeah. And then I already talked about Nade. So, I think Brittany just looks a little more complete than Nade in her front pose with the muscularity, but I think Nade wins the back pose. So, yeah. Okay, wait, what's the show? Okay, Daytona. Okay, let me, okay, so I already talked about that show. And then, okay, this is Huanji. Okay, so I'm gonna pull these up. You saw me discover that these photos came out, so we are going to talk about them. Okay. So here's my little system. Okay, I go to the last page because hopefully there's a final call out. These photos are really far away. Jeez. Okay, Wu won this show. So here's Wu. She's very tilted forward as usual. That leg's doing the usual things. So I want her legs to be standing more like Lee's legs here. So her knee is like pointed all the way back. Her feet are super close together. She's tilted forward. So yeah, okay, I'm not gonna go over those photos because they're so far away. But let me see if I can just pull up a back pose of these photos, and then I will go into individual ones. Okay, is this like, are people posed? Okay, I don't even know if Wu's in this. No, that's not Wu. Okay, well, give me a second. Okay, back pose. They're turning to the back. Perfect. Yes. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Wu's back pose is just a total knockout. Lee's, this looks like way more projections than she had at the last show. Sorry, I sniffled into the mic. Okay. So yeah, let's look at the individual photos. So, in first place, Wu. Second, Lee. Sarah Choi in third. Zin Yi in fourth. Ying Yi in 5th. Okay, did I, what's the show called? Huanji. Okay, let me see if I can, okay. Oh, okay. I predicted Zin Yi. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Zin Yi, Wu, CU. I'm always predicting CU. Okay, and then I thought it would be Ying Yi and then Lee. So I don't know where my head was at when I made those predictions because those are so off. Okay. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to delete the Daytona now. Okay. So in first place, we have Wu. Yeah, I would like her to stand up taller, but she looks nice and full. I still would like her to get a better fitting suit top. Not have the feet so close to each other, like get that foot underneath the knee. Right now the heel is like overlap with the foot, straighten the arm. I just think she could rework it. And then in the back pose, she could probably stand up a little bit taller. She looks a little too lean forward, and the hair could be a little more polished and, like, you know, covering her back and not covering any of her shoulders. But knockout. Okay. And then we have Lee. Okay, so Lee's front pose. I think even though Wu could adjust her pose, Lee needs some more upper outer glute, and Wu looks more balanced in her pose. Like, Lee looks very upper body dominant. Wu at least looks more balanced in the front pose. And then in the back pose, and it looks like Lee has matched her eye makeup completely to her Sue. I wouldn't do that. And then in the back pose, I think Wu has better projection in the glutes. Lee doesn't have as much density and depth to her glutes. Okay. And then we have third place, Sarah Choi. And let's see how these scorecards were. Okay. I had to sniffle. Okay. Where are we going? Here we go. And we're going to look at the results. Okay. So perfect scores all the way down. Okay. And then in third place, yeah, Sarah. Oh, when I made this preview, I forgot Sarah was in the show. I overlooked that Sarah was in the show. I accidentally closed out her tab, or I forgot. Otherwise, I would have had her in there. Yeah, so excellent conditioning. Like, perfect bikini conditioning. The waist is fucking crazy. I would just bring the arm in tighter. She's really flaring the lat. I would bring those hips around and, like, crank them around so we see that full glute and the hamstring swoop. So I think that Lee beat her in the front pose. And then the back pose, Lee beat her there. Sarah doesn't have as much density or depth to her glutes. She could also straighten her arms. I don't want to see any of the hands, straighten the arms, and that would relieve or minimize some of this negative space and give her a more framed shape. But she needs more density and depth to the glutes. Hair looks perfection. Fourth place, we have Zhen Yi. Yeah, I always love her look. I don't mind the green. I think it's just the lighting here. Really full. That's what I mean when I say I always love her look. Waist is super tight. I would bring that rib in, like in and down, so it doesn't flare out like this. And I would crank her hips around too, so she gets that like very silhouette-y hourglass look too. The glutes, silhouette-y, not a word, obviously. Because we're losing some of her muscularity. Like, the shape is really pretty, but it's not necessarily showing all her muscle. Back pose, incredible. I would arch the low back more and push the upper body forward, like, just an inch, and then she would get more balance between upper and lower. Right now, she's getting a lot more width in the top than she is in the bottom. If she did that, maybe she could have gotten fourth over Sarah. And then we have Yin Yi. So let's see this front pose. Okay, she's not fully in the front pose in either of those. Let's see if she does it at the end. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is getting better. She's at more of an angle here than she was at the last show. She's less straight on, as you can see. I would get the hair off of the shoulders. I don't think her shoulders are so dominant that they need to be covered. This is a crazy look. With her, I think the glutes did hurt her at this show, unlike the last show. So, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So I think just needs more glutes. Maybe a touch too tight, but I think she's just trying to get what she has to pop. She just needs more glutes. So, incredible look. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate. Okay, let me see if the Monsters in photos are out. They were not out an hour ago. Okay. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for the people who put my videos on their story. It makes me feel so cool and loved. So I hope you have a great day, and Olympia's in 12 days. Okay, bye guys.